Hey guys, welcome to Mad Scientist BBQ. I'm Erica Yoder. Today, I'm doing something a little bit different, a little bit weird. Even though I'm surrounded by high dollar smokers, like the very best money can buy, I went on Amazon and I bought the cheapest smoker that they had available because I just had to know, how does this thing cook? I don't even know how this thing works yet, but I know it goes on the stovetop. So I'm gonna use these burners here and we're gonna see what kind of barbecue this thing can turn out. So the plan is I'm going to open this up, figure out how it works, and cook a rack of ribs. I got a small rack of ribs, so hopefully we can fit most of them on here. I don't think we're going to be able to fit the whole thing. This is a personal size smoker, it says, but the pictures of food that they have on here look pretty good. Like this chicken looks pretty good. They have some turkey. One of the most intriguing things about this little smoker to me was that it says 365 all season use. And it's getting colder here and I'm less and less inclined to go outside and deal with the elements to cook. I think this could be interesting if it turns out good food. It might be something you can use in an apartment. You can use it outside, inside, whatever you want. But the real question is, does it cook good food? Let's open it up and find out. Authentic wood smoked food in under an hour. I'll be the judge of that. All right. Oh, got a little bitty thermometer. Little cookbook with recipes and stuff. Cute. We got this guy. Set that aside. Aha! Hickory smoking chips. And apple smoking chips. That's usually the fuel back there. So this feels weird. It feels weird even using pellets in a pellet grill, but to go from burning wood splits to this feels strange, but I'm willing to try it for science. I got a small rack of ribs, and according to this chart, these ribs should take 60 to 90 minutes. If that's true, if they're even close to tender after 60 to 90 minutes, that's pretty impressive. Let's see here. I gotta read the directions. Setup. Using the hardwood smoking chips included with your smoker, spread a thin layer across the bottom in a 3-inch circle. Okay, what do you say we go a little bit of hickory, a little bit of apple? Oh, so you put the wood chips down, you put this on top, and then this, and then this, and you're smoking. I got it. Wood chips in a 3-inch circle on the bottom. Then on top of that is gonna go a water pan / drip pan, then the smoking tray on top, and then finally the lid. The book recommends a smoking temperature of between 190 and 210 degrees for the smoker itself. I think that somehow that can't be right unless this thermometer is just junk or in Celsius. Yeah, even on the thermometer, 190 to 210, and it says Fahrenheit. So this must just be a very inaccurate thermometer, or like where it's measuring the temperature, it's drastically lower than what's actually cooking the meat, because there's no way the meat's even gonna be cooked after 60 minutes. I don't know. We'll have to use it and see. This is uncharted territory for me. So let me get this thing set up, and then we're going to use this propane burner and see how it goes. A little bit of apple.
I was expecting them to be pellets.
Yeah, I thought it'd be like actual chips, not sawdust, but whatever. A little bit of hickory. Now water pan goes on top of that. Let me consult the manual. Okay, so according to this, pork ribs, 60 to 90 minutes. The method is dry, so no liquid in this pan. So if you want it kind of steamy in there, you can add liquid, and they would say if you're smoking onions or mushrooms or vegetables or fish or something like that, add liquid. This is gonna function just as a drip pan for this cook. Smoking tray, and I gotta see how much of this is actually gonna fit. Like we can fit a couple. I don't think we're gonna fit this whole rack. Let me get these ribs seasoned up, and then we will get to smoking. Smoking! Somebody stop me. When's the last time you watched The Mask? You've never seen The Mask? Are you kidding me? Da-da-da-da. Let us score the membrane as per usual. Score. Ba-dum. Nailed it. Now I'm going to hit it with a little bit of salt. Not too much, because these are thin. Just flip it over. Just a shade more. And then have the sweet rub. It's called Sweet Cheeks from Chud's BBQ, aka Stanley Robinson, my guy. So he sent me some of these and I want to try them out. This one smells really good, and by itself it tastes really good. Not a lot of salt here, so I salted separately. And it's kind of a good call with this because some people could use it for pork butts, you could use it for pork ribs, and they require vastly different amounts of salt. So add the salt independently would be my advice. So let's put some of this on here. Also, a major shout out because they have the large size holes. You know how many times I've been super frustrated with trying to dispense a rub and it's got those little bitty holes and I'm like shaking the thing. It's just frustrating. So great call on that. Nice job, Brad. I mean, Stanley Robinson. Okay, let's add this on there.
Oh, I smell that.
Smells good, doesn't it?
It smells like syrup.
It smells like maple syrup.
Yeah.
It really does. Let's see. See what we can figure out from these ingredients. Yep. Maple powder.
Really?
Yep. Ethyl alcohol. Maybe Brad's trying to get everybody drunk eating his food. Drunk on barbecue. And then we should go ahead and do the side just for anyhow. This smells like pancakes.
It really does.
But I mean in a good way. Let me see how I'm going to get these things to fit in here. So we'll kind of probably get this chunk in. Okay. And then don't forget the edges. Rookie move. I'll make sure to get those edges there. The new edge that got formed. Here we go. Let's see. We got, especially the new ones that we just cut. Let's see here. You get like another little chunk of ribs. Maybe kind of get it to fit there. Squish it in there. Does it have directions about when to place the meat on there? I have cooked many thousands of racks of ribs. Doing it on this, it's like going back to square one. It says to concentrate the smoke flavor in your food, leave the vent completely closed. Place the smoking tray in the base of the pan and add food. You can layer food, but you will want to ensure that food is spread out enough to allow smoke to come through. Well, we're going to find out if smoke is going to come through. If not, I can take it out and adjust it. I'm going to leave this vent open until I see smoke, because if I leave it closed and I don't see smoke, I don't know if it's actually smoking, just holding it in there. The time is now 4:34 p.m. All right, first update here. As you guys can see, it's a little chilly out, but this thermometer is reading 120 degrees Fahrenheit. So it could be that it's inaccurate, or it could be I have too much meat on there and need to take some out. But let's see. We're smoking now. You can smell the smoke. It kind of has that smoky smell like when you get salmon that's been cold smoked or something like that. It's weird that it smells cold smoked. Maybe because it's simply smoldering in there, not actually burning. But I think I'm gonna get some gloves and take some of these out just so we can have more movement of smoke and air, and hopefully the thermometer will give me a more accurate reading. It does smell good. I'm gonna get rid of these smaller pieces. This is actually already partly cooked. So we'll spread this out a little bit. This rub smells really good. Nice job, Brad. All right, so it is smoking. You can smell it. I'm gonna put this back on. Now we have multiple air vents, so air can get through there. So we'll see what this thermometer says. I have this burner pretty low. We can actually bump it up just a tad and see if we can get it into that 190 to 210 range that this calls for. I think probably the actual surface temperature is going to be a lot higher than that, so probably like 275, 300, maybe even 350. But the air temp way up above is going to be lower, so we'll see. Can you dig it? Oh yeah. No, it's Isaac Hayes' Shaft. You know the theme song from Shaft? I used to listen to it when I was writing papers in college.
Oh,
Felt like I was in the zone. I'm like, yeah, typing. It's like the song's about me typing this paper right now. You know? But it was not about me typing the paper. Okay, we're up to 130 now, slowly climbing. The directions say it takes 60 to 90 minutes. The temperature is still not anywhere close to 190 to 210, but I'm kind of reluctant to dial up the heat too much, so I'm going to check it after it's been 60 minutes, so about maybe 45 minutes from now, and we'll see how it's doing and make adjustments from there. While we're waiting, we should talk about this. So right now there's just a tiny bit of smoke leaking out right through here. With as cold as it is outside, it's kind of difficult to tell if it's smoke or if it's steam. It smells like smoke. So there's just a little bit leaking, and you could kind of get rid of that with the fume hood. If I open this up, you see there's a fair amount coming out. So it might be too much for the smoke hood to deal with. So I think you could use it inside, but it would be a wiser choice to use it outside. Climbing up to 170 now. So we'll check back in a bit and we'll see how it's doing. Interjecting one update here. So we took that extra meat out so we could have more airflow in there. And now it's sitting right at 200 degrees indicated on this thermometer right here. So I think just don't overfill it and it should be good. Also, it was only filled with that much meat for maybe 4 or 5 minutes. So I don't think we ruined anything, but we should have a good idea of how this thing cooks. Sitting right at 200. It's smack dab in the middle of the ideal range. But there's not a chance. Actually, I gotta satisfy my own curiosity. I want to know what the air temperature is inside here, so I'm gonna do this. 160? Weird. Still hanging out in the ideal range. All right, it's been just under 90 minutes, about 86 minutes. And these things I think are done. I checked at 60 minutes into the total cook time and they were about 180 degrees internal. I think they're done. Let's take a look at them. This lid does get a little hot, so let's take a look at them. So we have good pullback on the bones. I think they're gonna be plenty tender, but it's just kind of soupy in there. You close the vent to keep the smoke in there, but you don't really get any kind of meaningful barbecue type bark. But ultimately, it comes down to how does it taste? So I'm gonna get these out, put them on the board. I'm gonna slice one up and see how it is. Okay. Still a little, you know what? For all of you out there who are wondering, I don't usually temp ribs, but I'm wondering about the temp. In various parts, we're 195, 180, well, 192. We're at 180, 192 again. So initial inspection is it's kind of soupy where the rub was. So we might be better off going with a really simple rub like salt and pepper and maybe tossing it at the end. And then on the bottom, we have like a little charring, just a tiny bit, but most of it's protected. I don't know if it's gonna be different on ribs versus other meats. But even after 90 minutes, it's still a little tougher than I'd prefer. If I really shook it, it would fall apart. But I don't want to do that. I want to taste it. All right, my first reaction is I can smell some smokiness and there's some juiciness here. So I'm going to cut one off and give it a bite, and we'll see if it's actual barbecue or if we just kind of made oven ribs. It's toasty. So we have our bone right here. Don't have a lot of color. It's still pretty juicy, but I don't see any kind of smoke ring, so I'm really curious about that smoke flavor. I'm really skeptical. We'll see. Surprisingly more tender than I thought. Pretty smoky, but it's dirty, smoldery smoke. I know that if I eat a lot of these, I'm gonna be burping up smoke later. If you guys have ever had dirty, like really dirty smoke, like smoldery smoke, you'll know what I'm talking about. And it's borderline bitter on here. So it does taste smoky, but it's not that rich, robust smoke flavor that you get from, say, an offset or something like that. I actually kind of find this off-putting. The meat's juicy. It's nearly tender. It's not super flavorful because there's so little airflow that you're not sweating out a lot of water. The water you do sweat out just kind of absorbs into the rub and becomes this mush on the top. So I gotta be honest with you, I really don't care for it. I kind of had high hopes, like wanted this to be a sleeper, winner, amazing thing. Maybe you could do it with just less in terms of the wood shavings and you could have just a very subtle smoke flavor. But realistically, I would much, much rather put them on a smoker of some kind, offset smoker, pellet grill, Weber Smoky Mountain, etc., for an hour or two, and then just finish them in the oven. The convenience in terms of how quickly it gets stuff done is outweighed by the quality of food in terms of the smoke flavor. So, is it a smoker? Yes. Is it cheap? Yes. Can you use it just on a burner without any actual smoking equipment? Yes. Would I recommend it? no. The flavor to me is just off-putting. Like, I feel like it's in my nose now, and I just don't like it. But I want to bring my wife on and maybe one other special guest. My wife has the best palate of anyone I know of, so I want to get her opinion on this. And then her friend Erin is not a barbecue snob at all. I've eaten barbecue at some of the best restaurants in the world, made pilgrimages to Austin to eat great barbecue. So my frame of reference is probably going to be different than hers. So I'm curious to know what she thinks of these ribs. One other thing for you guys to know is on the inside of this, you have this kind of oily, kind of dark brown liquid. I don't know precisely what that is, but it smells chemically. It almost smells like burning paint or something, but I don't think this paint is burning, but it's just really, really off-putting, and I'm getting a lot of that flavor on these ribs, and I think that's the flavor that's just really making me not like them. It's like for the first half second of the bite, it's good, and then it's just, wow, what is going on? Anyway, let's get the real taste testers in here to try these out, and you'll get their unbiased opinions.
Stay there.
Okay.
Okay.
This is definitely reminding me of a grill flavor.
Yeah?
I'm tasting smoke,
I
but
taste smoke for sure.
You like the flavor?
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
like the flavor?
okay.
I personally really like the flavor.
Actually, it's grill. It's actually good.
I could eat a couple pounds of that.
Surprisingly good.
How would you evaluate it compared to other barbecue you've had?
This isn't even in the same field as your barbecue, as regular offset barbecue.
Well, I'm flattered, thank you.
But just for a meal, it's actually surprisingly good.
You don't find the smoke off-putting at all?
No,
I
but
like
it kind
it.
of has a nostalgic flavor for me. It reminds me of being at the beach. And
Summer barbecue.
Yeah.
Parents are still grilling. That's so good.
Okay.
So, score, 1 to 10. What do you give it?
Okay,
10 is
well-
the greatest rib of all time. 1 is garbage, you would throw it away and not eat it.
3.
Oh, I was gonna say 6.5. But I have to admit that I haven't been eating meat for that long.
Oh.
So
Wait,
well,
what?
I should say. Let me restate that. Ribs.
What?
I had my first ribs like 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago,
Really?
and I fell in love with them immediately. Now it's my favorite thing ever. It just
Okay.
took me a long time to get there.
I can't wait for you to try the real barbecue. So I was surprised that 3 is a high score. They're actually, I keep eating them. I keep wanting more.
Don't do it.
Alright. Why
You're
not?
going to be burping up smoke later. Final thoughts before we cut? And then
They're definitely
wrap up the
way
video?
drier. Super dry. Yeah, I'm getting a buttery flavor.
That's my favorite part.
All right, thank you for being taste testers, evaluators here. I think maybe the only conceivable circumstance in which I would use this thing would be if I lived in New York and I had an apartment and there were no other options. Even when I lived in LA, I was crazy enough to forego my parking spot and put an offset smoker in there because I wanted great barbecue even in Los Angeles. All right, well, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, looks like we have another taste tester who's ready. Oh,
You want to taste?
Yes,
what is it?
I don't know.
What do you think it is?
Chicken.
Clearly not the most astute of taste testers. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button down below and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more fun and informative barbecue content. You can also follow me on all social media at Mad Scientist BBQ. I'll see you guys next time. We just finished filming the video and I realized why it tastes grilled. I think it's because that grease is dripping into that pan. It's getting super heated and you're kind of burning fat in the bottom of that. And so I think you have some fat smoke flavor that's reminiscent of a grill that you're tasting. That is kind of a nice feature. But in terms of overall quality, I think all the things that you heard in the comments from myself, from my wife, from her friend Erin, I think those are accurate. So I think that burning the fat in the bottom is where that grill flavor comes from. Just something for you to think about before you make a decision on whether or not this thing is right for you.